Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this session. In this video, we would be particularly talking about the rural industries or the rural industrialization in rural India. And before I start, I would like to tell you that towards the end of this session, I would be taking the example of cottage industry as well as the handloom and handicraft industry and how it has empowered the rural economy in rural India. So with this, we start the session. As all of you would be knowing the fact that rural industrialization plays a very important role in the development of India. So it is generally held that the economy in rural industrialization not only raises the per capita income of the people, but also raises the living standards by providing the gainful employment opportunities, but also reducing the income disparity between the rural and urban areas. And moreover, the promotion of rural industries provided an ample opportunity for optimum utilization of the local resources to serve the local needs. So, rural industrialization has become one of the major economic as well as the social goal of economic development and formed part and parcel of planning and development of India. So the objective of rural industrialization implies widely distressed on the small scale with as high an employment potential as is compatible with an efficient technique and the requirement of process of development. So in India, if we look at industrialization with urban bias, that has resulted in haphazard development between agriculture and the industry on one hand, and at the same time, the rural and urban areas on the other hand. Further, the relationship between the traditional agriculture and modern industry made the rural sector at a greater disadvantage in appropriating the gains or development, leading to an increasing disparity on proper lines in the level of income between the rural and urban areas respectively. So the rural industries developed on proper lines can serve as an effective means of reducing these particular imbalances and also play a prominent role in providing the subsidiary occupation and supplementary incomes, especially to the personnel engaged in the agriculture, besides facilitating a more intensive economic utilization of material resources and manpower. But nevertheless, like rural industrialization, which does not benefit the rural population, is not the best way of rural development. Though it may lead to a considerable growth in industrial output, rural industrialization facilitates the shift in workforce from primary to secondary sectors. Industrialization also promotes an economy fundamentally relying on agriculture into a more advanced, industrial economy. So issues of industrialization are different at a different level of growth with political goals. So the economic growth, equity and welfare, national independence, etc. dominate the industrialization. So the strategy of industrialization should immensely depend on the theoretical framework as well as the ideological betting. So it is practically impossible to develop everything simultaneously, and therefore priorities are to be identified. The right choice has dimensions like relative roles of public and private sectors, heavy industry and light industry, import substitution and export promotion, labor intensive and capital intensive, etc. So, as I said, towards the end of the discussion, I would be taking the example of cottage industry. So, basically, a cottage industry is a small manufacturing operation often run out at a person's home. And this industry play a very significant role in the economies of developing countries. And small scale cottage industry also are an important source of employment, especially in rural areas. So for farmers, operating a cottage industry out of home can supplement the income raised from selling crops. And in winters, when the farming activities tend to abate, cottage industry can create extra income for these farmers. So for small villages, a cottage industry can allow local residents to come together and produce craft for sale in local market or even for export to larger cities and other countries. And when we talk about the handlooms and handicraft sector, so the handloom and handicraft and women, both the terms have their individual identity, and the fruitful combination or amalgamation of both gives them a more meaningful identity. So these industries are a major source of income for the rural communities in general, and for rural women in particular, as they are providing employment opportunity for them. Though a large number of female workforce, both urban and tribal, from all sections of the society are involved in appropriate returns for their efforts. These by handlooms and handicrafts, we are referring to the art metal wares, wood wares, hand printed and textiles, embroideries, shawls, zari and zari goods, imitation jewelry, and miscellaneous handicrafts. So, So with this, we come to an end. I hope that I've been able to successfully give you a brief about the scenario of rural industries or rural industrialization in India, and how cottage industry and handicraft and handloom sector are contributing for boosting the rural economy. So thank you so much for joining me for this session. Signing off.